the creator. Stop playing. So is AG over here. Everybody giving vibes.
Probably still sin, sure you know what I meant. Party at 8, but I pull up whenever. And you know if she bad, then she gotta stay over. As long as your grind is in order. As long as I drown in the water. As long as you leave in the morning. Alright, time to get this started. Very first podcast. Inconsistent podcast. Where I talk about stuff inconsistently. Mostly video games, so let's get started. For everyone who doesn't know, my name is Shy Saint Rayne. I'm here to talk about a game that actually, and I do mean actually, brings me great joy just to play. Like, this is a unique feeling to me because lately, I don't know if I'm the only one who's been feeling like this, but games have been like homework, you know? But no, this game I really enjoy playing it. Like, it doesn't feel like I'm doing homework or working, like somewhere that I don't like working. Like, I actually enjoy playing this game, just booting it up, running around, completing assignments, completing tasks, quests, objectives. So if you're wondering what game I'm talking about, and if you didn't read the title for the video, I'm talking about Hogwarts Legacy on PS4 specifically. And I'll be going over a few things I like and dislike about the game, specifically from a developer and player perspective. I'll be highlighting decisions I think were either wonderful or terrible, and giving my overall thoughts as a game developer myself on whether I think these ideas were honestly well executed or not. I respect developers. I'm a developer myself. Like I said, an indie one man team for the most part. So I'm not saying anything I do is better or I could do better than any of these developers making games. I just really feel like we're at a point where we really should be critiquing the games that we're paying for, because they're gonna keep making games that don't necessarily have our best interests at heart if we don't really understand what we're putting our money into and what our time into. So I wanted to start with the game that I really kind of like, and this is one of my first videos. So if you're seeing this, yeah, I am a game designer. I have one game out on iOS, so it's a mobile game called Ash Warrior. I started off as a writer. Always wanted to be a writer, write my own books and stuff like that. But I actually really love making games, and I love telling stories and creating stories that people get lost into. So enough about me. About Hogwarts Legacy. So you play as a first-time student going into his 5th year at Hogwarts. And I'm guessing this takes place like way back in the day before Harry Potter actually like came in, because the headmaster is like Phineas Black or something like that, which I mean, I didn't do no research on the game setting or anything like that, but I feel like the amount of times I read Harry Potter, I feel like that's someone that was mentioned many times, but like in passing, like he was an old person or like way back in the day. So I'm assuming this takes place in the past. And why he's starting school in his 5th year doesn't really make sense to me, but I kind of just rolled with it. I don't know if the plot actually says anything about it. I really don't even think they kind of covered it. It was just like, hey, going into your 5th year. And I mean, it didn't really bother me, to be honest. The story's basically like another Chosen One story. I don't want to spoil too much about the game, but it is basically like, oh, you're special compared to everyone else, or you have something special about you that no one else has, so you're the only person who can kind of do what needs to be done, but you still have to work for it. So it does give you a story that pulls you in
to an extent. I haven't paid too much attention to the plot so far, but when it does come up and when I do complete like main quest lines and stuff, it does seem actually interesting, which not every game is able to pull that off. So if you actually enjoy like stories, Harry Potter, the lore, the world building concepts, this game actually does give you that. You're really a Hogwarts student in a school. You have classes to go to and stuff. There's a lot of things apparently to discover. I'm still playing the game now, so there's quite a bit just on the superficial overview kind of level. But getting into deeper things, the visuals on this game is absolutely beautiful. And I'm playing this on PS4, a PS4 Pro, but still PS4. And this game is just, it's a marvel to look at. I'm like freestyling my script right now. I have it in front of me, but I'm freestyling this right now because this game is just, I'm at a loss for words sometimes. Like, a game is an interactive medium, so the way you kind of fit into the world of the game is a big deal, you know? The game has like graphical issues here and there, or even not just graphical, but like visual bugs. You can see like players walking on air or not really going where they're supposed to be going. But for the most part, visually, this game it does Harry Potter justice. And I know this game has like a lot of controversy surrounding it and stuff, so I want to be very specific that this game does Harry Potter as a concept, as a IP itself. It does it justice, regardless of how you feel about the creators and the person behind Harry Potter. If you are a fan of Harry Potter, if you grew up on it, this game actually puts you into the world. You look around, you're in the Forbidden Forest, or you're in Hogsmeade, or you're in Hogwarts and stuff like that. The school itself is so huge. I honestly, when I first started playing, I thought the school was like the whole map, like the school and then the school grounds and then like the Forbidden Forest and then Hogsmeade. Like, I thought that was it. And there's a lot more to see. There's a lot more to explore. And I really think that's dope. I really think they created a world for you to get lost in. And I'm really just talking about like the visual experience of it, the surface level kind of, that first kind of contact you get where you're just watching like the spells fly and the sunset, or you're flying on a broom and you're just seeing that kind of view on where can you go and how does things operate, or just watching, like, even walking around the Hogwarts school and just seeing the stairs come together. Lots of video games do that, but for that kind of thing to fit nicely into what we've come to expect from Harry Potter itself, it's like, visually it's just a great experience. It's just a great experience. You could just walk around just to see what there is to see and not really be disappointed if you're a Harry Potter fan, or if you're a fan of games that are similar to this. But visuals aren't the only thing that matter in a video game. The most important thing that matters in a video game is the gameplay. And this is where I was ready to like not like the game, because like, how do you make a Harry Potter game fun to play? Exactly, because not every game that seems like would be fun on paper turns out to be fun, but this game is actually really fun. It plays like a fencing game, but with magic and shooting as part of the combat, or as part of the gameplay mechanic. So basically, if you ever seen like a Harry Potter duel in the movies, where it's like these two people and they move their wands like they're fencing, but then you got spells coming out, so you have to kind of dodge, and like, that's a very interesting thing to create a gameplay loop out of. And they did it pretty well. They mapped most of the spells to like R2 and a face button, like square, triangle, X, or circle. And then R1 lets you grab an object from the environment and like it's basically like a force grab from Star Wars or something, where you grab it from a distance and you throw it at the person or the enemy or whatever you're fighting. And between that and then the spells that you unlock and the talent trees that change up how things work, it becomes a really interesting mesh of really being a wizard. You know, especially like with the talents, the talent tree itself, I wasn't expecting, or I was hoping for, but I didn't expect them to deliver it. And it's still very simple. It isn't really deep, but you can do things like, and I'm not trying to spoil the game for people who haven't played it, but you can do something like, say, take a basic disarming spell and you can turn that into a curse. Or you can take your basic short range fire blast and now it does area of effect damage because of the talents that you've kind of acquired along the way. And it's not really a deep system, it's not the deepest system, but it's deeper than most games we're getting now. And for this game, it really works. You learn spells and stuff by going to classes and completing quests that are disguised as classes or objectives, and you really get to watch your wizard progress. By the end of the game, you're not really feeling like underpowered as a wizard. I'm not even nowhere near the end of the game, but you know, you don't feel like, oh, I'm a wizard, I should be able to do this. It's more like, oh, I'm actually able to do exactly what I thought I should be able to do. And if I can't do it, the question isn't why can't I do it, but more like, when will I be able to? You know, the game doesn't feel like it nerfs the idea of being a wizard, which many games do that. They depower you or try to restrict even something like, for example, giving us mounts like the beasts we can ride or the brooms. Like some games, they give you that too early or not at all, and you're wondering, why did they give it to me so soon, or when do I get it again? But nope, this game just, it makes you wait for it a little bit, and then it gives you the first mount, and then it makes you get a feel for it, and eventually you get your next one. And the world changes once you've experienced it without the mount and then with, you know, without your broomstick and then with, and the game just constantly keeps growing and giving you this actual feeling of progression. And I find that to be so refreshing in a video game nowadays. The fights are tough, but they're not Dark Souls. It's not an artificial challenge in my opinion. The fights feel tough, like you're fighting dark wizards as a 15-year-old, and you're like kind of lit, but you shouldn't even be that lit. So you're fighting up and you feel like you're fighting up, but when you finish that fight, when you come out of a fight with like 6 dark wizards and an army of spiders or something, and you're just like, yeah, I did that. I was countering and Leviosaing, and come on now, I'm the wizard. I need to be an aura or something like that. Like, come on. Like, the game really does reward you just for playing it, and that's a really good feeling. And so, moving on to like the last couple of things, the music, the mood, the atmosphere. This is kind of separate from visuals. This is more so like the way the game just kind of pulls you in, you know. And I really feel like the game really does that. Sometimes I'll just find myself booting up the game just to have the music playing and some kind of visual on in the background. It's just the live wallpaper at that point. It's just a vibe, you know. And that's really good for a game like this, or for a game in general, to just be something that you wanna be playing this game. You just want to be in the world of the game for as much as you can, whenever you can. Not many games give you that opportunity to just explore and enjoy the game itself, and I think this game really does that well. It brings you into its world. The characters, while aren't so deep that you have like thousands of dialogue options, they still help flesh the world out. They still help make the world feel like it's lived in, it's alive. You know, you walk around the school, you see students all the time playing games, challenging each other, flying around and stuff. Go to the villages, there's people there, you know, and even great games like Elden Ring or like Anthem or anything like, not Anthem, not a great game, but Elden Ring is. But for games like that where the open world is huge, it's like the world is still kind of empty, devoid of life besides monsters and stuff. So this game really does a great job of kind of just bringing you into a well-realized wizarding world. It really feels like you're living in this game. And I do think the developers at Portkey Games, those are the developers, I really think they succeeded where a lot of developers this generation failed. The only thing I really wish this game had was some form of multiplayer, even if it was just duels. You know, I would have preferred like some kind of like co-op or something like that. I could run around the forest with my friends or something, or run around the school with my friends, or just see my friends in the school. You know, other than not having multiplayer, that's like the only con this game really has. And even though the spells aren't that much, I still don't mind them. Like, I still think the spells that they chose were probably like the most diverse, or probably like the best choices for spells in terms of combat or gameplay mechanics. I think they kind of picked a small but good group of spells that they could say, okay, this can apply for this scenario and this can give the player a choice here. And I really think that they made a good choice. Their intent, their focus, it's pretty clear they wanted to make a good, if not great, Harry Potter game that lets you feel like you're Harry Potter basically in the world. And they might not have wanted to take on too much, you know, but I think their decision, their gambles, I think it paid off. I think this is probably one of the better, if not one of the best games for the PS4 generation. And I kind of really, like, I really do want to see where they go next. Like, I really don't want them to just drop this game and then be done with it. I want to see them do more with it, keep adding to it, keep building on it. You know, I think games as a service is such a horrible genre, because it should be a concept, because games are a service. You know, I paid for it, you provide it, and the service is enjoyment, relaxation, entertainment, whatever it is. So I really think that this is one of those games where if they were to add more to it, whether it's DLC or expansions, or they say, hey, thank you, that was a one and done deal, and we're working on a sequel or something very, very similar, now that we know what our niche is, you know. But I really think they succeeded with this game, and I really can't wait to see what they do next. So this game gets a pass for me.